Hello, and welcome to the Horror House Podcast. I'm Dave.
I am Chris. We're two dudes that like to talk about horror from movies to real life. This week in the Horror House, we are talking the 1997 insanity sci-fi gory Event Horizon. Finally, Dave, it's finally time. But
I think we have talked about Event Horizon since before we had a podcast.
oh, I'm sure. We've brought it up, I think, every season, at least in one show every season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes it hard. So when we finally decided to do it this season, I'm like, haven't we done that? But no, somehow we have not. So it's time. It's time to do this one. Long time coming.
And I didn't watch it on streaming. I went to get my Blu-ray, and a little somebody gave me a Blu-ray of this, and that was my podcast partner here, Chris.
I do what I can.
And when I went to get it off my shelf, guess what I found? I had 2 Blu-rays of it. So well, that's okay. But this is a great movie. I don't know if you know this, Chris, and I hope it doesn't make you cause family drama. But your sister, I like Hellraiser.
My God.
She's not a big Hellraiser.
Oh, Hellraiser.
But she loves Event Horizon.
Oh, okay.
Yes, she and I mean, clearly we're going to get into the Event Horizon and the Hellraiser-ish of this. Because, I mean, basically, this movie is Hellraiser and Ghost Ship had a baby in space. Even though Ghost Ship came out after this, but clearly when the Event Horizon skipped through the wormhole, it went back in time to be forward in time to be born from the Ghost Ship loins, and then came back to good old 1997 to be born in space.
Marty Mick Event Horizon, I think was its other name.
But this movie is good. And I say right now, we make a pact, a blood oath, Chris. And I pledge this blood oath to you. If I ever get tapped to write or produce or direct a multiverse movie,
okay,
the Event Horizon will make it.
So, yes, I like it. Sign me up.
All right. You have to say I make this blood oath.
I dedicate this blood to you.
That sounds like you're in church. And the blood to you.
The power of the blood compels me.
We're not eating pieces of Jesus toast.
I randomly turned on the TV the other day to see, maybe it was YouTube. I forget what I was even watching, but it was 2 guys arguing about eating the body of Christ and how it needed seasoning. And so, just a quick aside.
So, if you're going to church next Saturday or next Sunday, I don't know. I actually have been to church a lot. I know it's on Sunday, America. But next time I go to church, I will take a little sriracha.
There you go. A little dipping, a little bit of dipping, and then there you go.
Yeah, just dip that bread in some.
If you do that and make like solid eye contact with the priest, I hear you get into heaven faster.
I'm going to flip my tongue at him. Perfect when I.
That already sounds better. That
Real
already
talk.
sounds better than David Gordon Green's Exorcist.
Oh.
I ain't sorry.
Don't poop on my cloud today. We're doing Event Horizon. I don't want to talk about
I can't. The hate is too strong in me.
I would rather talk about which is better, the lump of bread or the Jesus wafer. And clearly, I come down on the lump of bread side.
Just a lump of white bread?
Yeah, no, it's unleavened bread.
I don't know them. Never heard of her.
It's like no yeast, so it doesn't rise. So it's only like a centimeter thick. So it's basically all crust, and it's still better than wafers.
I would have to dip it in some kind of garlic sauce or marinara, but then I think I'd be all right.
That's the beauty of the Catholic Church. There are Italian Orthodox, Roman Orthodox churches, and they give you a little pesto for your bread.
For real?
Yeah. And you can put the Pope on the board because the Pope ain't never coming on the show now.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, did we talk about it on the show or was it off the show about the new Ghost song with Patrick Wilson? Who? I feel like just mentioning Ghost, just how they look. Like, I'm not the biggest Ghost fan. They're all right. But I wonder how the Pope feels about Ghost, visually speaking.
I don't know. He may be.
Maybe.
He's like, hey, I like these guys. There's something about their style that resonates with me. After we watched the new Insidious movie, I did tell Jackie, I was like, this song during the credits, this is Patrick Wilson sings on this. And so she thought that was super cool.
There you go.
Of course, now she was more impressed by Ryan Gosling singing, is it Matchbox 20's Push?
I have no idea.
I wanna push you down.
I know the song, but I could, yeah. Matchbox 20.
Sure. Go with it. They're never coming on the show anyway. Because they're pussies.
They're not down with the Christ like we are now. They don't know what unleavened bread is.
Yeah, they're the devil rock and rollers. They won't come on.
Yeah.
But if they wanted to, have your people call me.
Yeah. Promotions at whorehouse.com/
Whorehouse 2.
2.
Use Matchbox 20. If you're listening, use Whorehouse 2 in the checkout, and you'll get on the show quicker.
At whorehouse.com.2. That's how things work, I think. Anybody that's trying to email us now, we've lost so many opportunities. Our Dr. Squatch promotion just came and went. Because they're like, Horror House. No, it doesn't exist. They weren't emailing us anyway.
Side note, Dr. Squatch is top-notch soap. I use it regularly. I have not been told I stink.
So, you hear that? Squatchers? Wait, we're Squatchers.
We're Squatchers.
They're Dr. Squatchers.
And so yes, Dr. Squatchers. That requires a little more education. Like Mr. Pibb went to college for 12 years and became Dr. Pepper.
Well, got married and then changed his name. His wife's very assertive.
After the Holocaust. He had to change his name. He had to give up his Yiddish name after the Holocaust.
Pibb is Yiddish?
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
That's how we got Frankenberry cereal, right? Frankenstein was like, the Jews are coming. I'm going to change my name to Frankenberry. Chris, this brings up an important topic, maybe even more importanter than Event Horizon. And I just invoked his name today. As a matter of fact,
okay.
We have yet to really break down in the Whorehouse podcast the evils of Barry.
We've not. I thought maybe we would do.
We've not invoked.
I thought we would do. We have to do Fried Berry one day because it always turns up in my searches whenever I'm looking for something to watch, and I've still yet to watch Fried Berry.
Yes. Have you watched it? Have you watched it? I started. It is weird, but I was
I'm fully expecting weirdness. But
yes,
maybe next season it'll be Berry time. Fuck Barry. Real life. IRL Barry.
You know what? I'll go out on a limb here. if Shudder wants to sponsor us, we'll do an entire season of nothing but Shudder movies.
Of Barry?
Not all Barry.
Oh.
Unless I refuse to be sponsored by a Barry.
You just sit at the Texas Roadhouse, building suspense. Minimal music.
Dehydrating.
Like you're sweating as Barry walks by.
Or
each time making eye contact.
Or those in the rabble. Or those in the rabble. Having Barry as a server is like he's the Skinamarink of servers. Like sometimes he makes an appearance, but he doesn't really do.
He's a sexist Skinamarink.
Oh yeah, no, he took good care of the ladies.
Okay, we have to tell them the story now. We can't leave him at Pride Barry for a season later. Was it Texas Roadhouse?
Okay. I believe so. We watched a movie
Iron
first.
Man. The first Iron Man, I'm pretty sure.
I think you are correct.
So that was 40 years ago.
Yes, a long ass time ago. But it was me, you, Tim, and the ladies.
And
afterwards,
they drank good.
Remember that bitch that... No, hold on. Before we even get to Texas Roadhouse, we were walking out of that theater, and that bitch gave Fonda the fucking stare down. Like,
it wasn't even as we were walking out of the theater. We stood up out of our seats, and this lady in front of us turned around and looked at my wife like they were going to throw down. And I don't know. She didn't know her. My wife didn't know this woman. But then nothing happened, obviously. But there was like, I'm like, what the? Everybody was like, what?
Yes. So for those who know Fonda, like, okay, what did Fonda do? Now, I'm here to tell you, as a neutral observer, Fonda didn't do anything. Like, I didn't hear a peep from her during the movie. I don't know what this was all about.
Unless she thought she was somebody else, or I was somebody else. It was so weird. But then
it was
we get out to the doors, and this lady drives by, still looking like piss and vinegar. Yeah.
Slow rolls.
Like if I'd been just a minute later, you'd have to consider I'd have maybe ran you over. It's the look that she was carrying. But then we go from that weirdness to Barry's Texas Roadhouse, where, you know, we're pretty reasonable. We're pretty laid back. So if somebody's not giving us a drink, a refill immediately, whatever, they'll get around to it. No, they won't. Not if they're Barry.
How many refills? The entire meal, Chris. How many refills did you get? Because I can tell you how many I get. I felt by the end of the meal, I felt blessed that I got a drink. A drink. That's how bad it was. I got zero refills.
Us fellas got no refills. Well, on the opposite side of the table.
He took
the females.
He took care. Yeah. He took care of the girls. That's okay. He even, like, Fonda ordered her steak well done. Stella orders her steak well done. She always tells him, well done, well done. I want zero pink. I don't want to know that it was ever pink.
Yeah.
And Fonda was like, do that and then put it in the microwave for me. And clearly they did. Like, it looked like lump charcoal. But Barry
and that woman from the theater maybe have been, maybe we're in league together.
That's a conspiracy theory I had not.
If our multiverse ever comes together, we're going to have to include some kind of call out to that too. I can't believe we've done 5 seasons of Horror House and haven't mentioned those two things. But there they are.
All right, let's do an ad and let's come back get into the good stuff. Event Horizon. This is why you're here, people. Here we go. Event Horizon. I totally did not remember, and I kind of watched this not infrequently. I love this movie, but I completely forgot how great just the fucking intro is. Because you get the Paramount logo and the mountain, and then just, I mean, really legit horror music as you scan up into space.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, it's not long, it's not great, it's not something totally high tech or intricate or technical, but I just love it so much. It really sets the tone because the music comes in, and the music is like no bullshit music.
It doesn't seem like something they do very often, especially these days, maybe, but like incorporating that like Paramount logo or whatever logo and then incorporating that into your opening of the movie. And I mean, in this, it was just a zoom with the shadow, but it fits in so good to like go into this movie. It feels, it gives a vibe, and I really like it.
I don't want them to do it a whole lot, but when they do it and they do it good, it's great. And I feel like if they did that for everything, it would kind of diminish. But when they do it, it's really good. So this, I think it's Jason Takes Manhattan, that when the Paramount logo comes and the stars come over the mountain, it's Jason. And then Zombieland. Is it Zombieland 1 or Zombieland 2? Maybe it's 2, where the chick holding the torch in the air and the zombies come and she starts fucking beating their ass with the torch.
Right.
So, yeah, when they do that shit, it's great. And Event Horizon, I mean, this is much more simpler than the Zombieland thing. But it is so good. And like I said, the intro music that goes with it is just, it doesn't fuck around. Mm. It's not soft and subtle music. It's not adventure music. It's not a Spielberg music. It is no holds barred. This is a fucking horror movie music.
Yeah. With some techno beats underneath occasionally.
I mean, it is late 90s, kids.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
For those who are too young to remember, in the late 90s, the government used to force you to take MDMA.
And dance.
And dance. Just want to dance. Fuck girls, I just want to dance.
Plus, it's a Paul W.S. Anderson movie, so of course it's going to have that 90s niche to it. This was his third movie, I want to say, or fourth at most. But who would go on to do the Resident Evil stuff? Probably.
Yes. So I brought him up. Yep, I brought him up the other day when Stella and I watched this, and because we watched it on Blu-ray, we had to watch in the living room because we don't have a Blu-ray player in the bedroom. We just stream shit at bedtime. So we watched your niece. I've been very proud of your niece this year. Like, how many times this season have I said, "Hey, your niece watch this," or "Your niece watch this"? She did not watch Event Horizon.
What?
She told us tonight, because I gave her a hard time about it tonight, that she's got a lot of things on her list right now. This week, she watched the entire Final Destination and was overjoyed when she was talking about how cool the caretaker was. I was like, yeah, that's Tony Todd, and he follows me on Twitter. And she was like, what? So her reaction was much better than Stella's. Yeah. Her reaction was much better than Stella's.
What was her reaction?
Stella's was like, okay.
Do you
Twitter's not real. I'm like, I know Twitter's not real, but you know, it's real to me.
It's still real to me, damn it. Wow. So that's funny because I was actually thinking about, because we talked about the future of Horror House and doing like some franchise movies and talking about the entire franchise. And Final Fantasy. Yeah. Final Destination was in my brain for like it's on the list. It's on the docket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of did a Resident Evil, so we've kind of hit all the 8 or 6 scores.
Yeah, big time. We talked about all of. Was the newest one out then? Anyways, we'll worry about that later.
So.
Here he is, who I didn't realize it until watching the Blu-ray and stuff, him talking, but he had decided to do Soldier with Kurt Russell, which I remember watching in the 90s and thought it was all right. But I didn't realize that was Paul W.S. Anderson this entire time. So watching this, he says he decided to do Soldier with Kurt Russell. Russell wanted to take a year off to bulk up and soldier up. So he went back and decided to do Event Horizon, which was a movie he kind of passed on for Soldier. And on top of that, when he showed Event Horizon 2 for Russell, Kurt Russell kind of told him, like, don't worry about how it performs, kind of, worry about, in 15 years, what people will be saying then. Because people will, and I mean, when it comes to like cult horror, it's like a big pat on the back coming from Kurt Russell. Snake Plissken and the fucking Thing, like that guy, yeah. So that's a pretty cool thing, and I think he's absolutely right.
He's got an upcoming movie that he co-wrote with George R.R. Martin called In the Lost Lands. And the IMDb description, one sentence description: a sorceress travels to the Lost Land in search of a magical power that allows a person to transform into a werewolf. I'm in. Starring Dave Bautista and Mila Jovovich. Like, I'm already in right there. You say less. No cap. This is straight busting.
If it's Bautista transforming into Mila Jovovich, I'm even more interested.
That would be something.
I don't know what this says about me, but
Bautista has real action chops. Have we talked about Bautista? Have we gone off on a tangent?
I think we have, but only kind of in passing. Did you watch the new Cabin Shyamalan Ding Dong movie?
We watched it in theaters, and we just watched it streaming the other day. It's Dave Bautista's great.
Yeah. Except his lead up to his retirement in WWE was not great. He forgot his line. Well, was it Triple H he was trying to build a feud with? He was back, but he forgot his line. He forgot how to carry the story while he was standing there on the ramp trying to get his WrestleMania match with Triple H. And so he just starts screaming, "Give me what I want!" Because he didn't know what else to say. It was. I'm sure if you try to watch it now, WWE has edited it down, but watching it live, you're like, God damn, move on. I don't care what is happening right now.
Probably Vince McMahon hired somebody to dub a different line in, and I hope it was like Wilford Brimley.
Diabetes. That would have been better than him yelling, "Give me what I want" for, I swear to God, 5 minutes. It seemed. Anyways, speaking of WWE, Paul W.S. Anderson also passed on the X-Men at the time. It was still a few years before Brian Hack, also singer, started his X-Men. But he wanted to have more time with it and develop it, but they were ready to get one done. So Paul W.S. Anderson X-Men could have been intriguing. I wonder what we could.
Yeah, he's got a style. Did you watch Monster Hunter? Watch Monster Hunter with Mila Jovovich also. He's got a thing for Mila Jovovich, and I don't blame him.
He's married to her.
What? This motherfucker's married to my girlfriend?
He is, yeah. I think for a minute he has been. I shit you not. God. I don't shit.
You are not shitting pants today. I just did when you said that. I shit my pants right now. It explains a lot. You know, this is the.
I mean,
this is the Rob Zombie thing, except Mila Jovovich actually is a pretty decent actress.
It would like if he'd met Sherry Moon Zombie on House of a Thousand Corpses and then just kept that going forward.
Well, again, Mila Jovovich is very talented, and I'm not complaining about Sherry Moon, really. She does what she does very well. If she don't ever do anything else, how do I know? How can I judge her acting chops if all she ever plays is...
Right.
Ghosts of Salem. Is it Ghosts of Salem? Witches of Salem? Whatever.
Lords of Salem.
Hunters. What's that?
Lords of Salem.
Lords of Salem. That is a little bit different character, but it plays out very similar. I mean, it's a different character. Okay, I'll give her credit for that. It's a different character. It's still about all... In that, it's her butt. Usually it's her tits.
That's the change.
That's the change. Like, I want to be more artistic, Rob. I don't want to show my tits in this one. I want to show my ass.
In the biography movie of Rob Zombie's life, in that scene, it's going to show him hitting backspace and being like, tits. Delete. But. Enter. Submit. And then Paramount Pictures is like, this is a mistake. This is a mistake.
What have you done, Rob? You've altered the timeline. It's unnatural. Provocative.
So
okay, you got me. I was trying to stay on target, but you dropped that bombshell on me. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I still have AT&T girl. We can still be.
You got that at least.
I've got that going. If she could ever, I plan to cast her in my Nightbreed remake. So
fair. That's fair. Your chair is howling at the moon. Also,
it is. It's a full moon. I'm sorry, guys. I've been trying to make a chair in soon. I'm trading this chair in soon. I breeze this motherfucker down. Like it's young starlet getting ready for her first anal scene. I grease this motherfucker, and it's still fucking chirping at.
So Philip Eisner, the screenwriter of Event Horizon, pitched this initially as The Shining in space. That was his big idea. And they're like, oh, yeah, that sounds interesting. Tell us more. And he's like, that's all I got. That's all I got. But that would eventually lead to what we now have. Also, what do you know? I may be jumping the gun. You want to talk about some Warhammer now or later?
We can talk about it now. Hell, I'm not going to know anything more about it later than I know about it now.
I'm exactly the same. I've played some of the games, but I really don't hardly know anything about it. But I, for years, kept seeing people talking about like, oh, Event Horizon and Warhammer 40K are like so connected. They're so like, whoever wrote Event Horizon was a big Warhammer fan. Warhammer 40K, sorry, because I guess there's a difference. I guess 40K is like, I think Warhammer itself is more of a fantasy kind of a thing, and then Warhammer 40K is like more of a grim, dark, futuristic kind of a deal. I think. Don't come at me, Warhammer fans. But as it turns out, Philip Eisner says, yeah, Event Horizon was influenced by Warhammer 40K. So with excuse me, with Warhammer 40K, the spaceships warping to travel impossible distances. Right. And they got this kind of like hell dimension, I think, is also a thing. but a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, but I've read a lot of people that kind of consider Event Horizon as kind of a prelude or a prequel, if you will, to Warhammer 40K. And I've never seen somebody be like, "No, you're wrong." In my years of internet, and so that's kind of neat. It's kind of neat.
That is kind of neat. I mean, I know I'm in the RPG scene. How cool I am. I know what Warhammer 40K is, and it always looked cool to me. But Space Marines.
Yeah.
This brings me.
We're already
we might as well right
Event
here.
Horizon fans, so it just makes sense that we start building Warhammer 40K armies.
Sure.
You
brought this up, and so I'm going to bring it right here, Chris. I'm bringing it hard right now. Complaint about this movie. And because you already touched on it right just now, the warping. It's not the warping doesn't piss me off. It's not the hell dimension that pisses me off. It's the way they explained wormholes. Pick up a paper and punch a pen through 2 holes. How many fucking times do you have to explain it to us like this? We're not fucking dumb, man.
I am a little bit dumb.
Find a different way to explain this. I mean, I've seen this done before. I've seen the hold 2 papers up and poke a hole through it and show the smallest distance between 2 points is not a straight line. It's to bring those points together.
Right.
Okay, don't show me something visually. Make something else happen to show me that this happened. About this.
Right.
Whether that's like a fucking bungee cord strung between 2 points, and then you wrench it together, and then when you release, they spring back. I mean, do something different. It's just fucking that's it. It's fucking lazy. I've seen this before. Sometimes there are some tropes I revel in. I enjoy. This is not. I've seen this before, and it's brain, and you're telling me these fuckers in the future, in this fucking future, where they can just fly out to Neptune on a whim. This is the Coast Guard, by the way. They can just go out to Neptune on a whim, and they don't understand the wormholes any better than 1980s sci-fi movies.
Hey, maybe that's as good as it gets. We're only, what was it, 2040 when Event Horizon goes missing? So we're only less than 20 years away. 17 years away? God damn. So,
we're supposed to be like mining Mars. Or something right now. Yeah.
We're colonized the moon and mining Mars. We're a little behind. We'll blame it on Elon for spending too much time on X. Fucking dumbass.
If he spent that 44 million. Something. Wow.
That's the only time I'm ever going to call that X. By the way. Fuck that shit.
I saw somebody called it today Exeter.
Oh my God.
It was Twitter, but with an X instead of the...
Elon ejaculated in his brain all down his body.
I assume that's where his penis, because it's not.
That's where brain. He thinks it is.
Yeah.
I respect your criticism for that. I would say my criticism, kind of my one criticism of the movie, and I understand that it's stupid and that it doesn't, it can be explained away, but still it's not. When it comes to the other dimension that the ship goes to, I get that there's supposed to be mystery and all this, and a lot of that footage is lost now, which we'll come back around to that in a minute. But you just get flashes of like this crazy death orgy and all this crazy gore with the previous crew. I just want some more, really sell the that other place that they're going to end up in if they stay on the Event Horizon. It just, yeah, I mean, you got Sam Neill doing a lot of the heavy lifting for like the last half of the movie, maybe, as the selling the hellness of it all. I think it is missing something to really make me feel like it's hell. I mean, you read some of the things, it's even hell's not the correct way to describe it, but I don't know if they actually filmed these lines or if it was just in the script, but we're talking about how he's older than the devil. He was here from the beginning and he'll be here past the end and stuff like that. I'm like, where's that? Sell me on that. But it didn't feel like it sold me fully on that idea. And
I think I wanted more. Neat. I think it's neat when they have things like, if you really want to know what this video showed, you have to slow it down or watch somebody who slowed it down. But also, are you really going to make me work for that? Like, yeah, show me more.
Yeah.
There are some cool scenes, like here coming down the stairs head first, naked, covered in blood.
That's the closest to modern day Linda Blair Exorcist. The spider walk down the stairs there's ever been. Maybe ever will be. That's the closest, and it wasn't the thing.
Yeah, you cut some shit out. I guess, like, he had, my understanding is they had pretty free reign, but then it was a test audience got a little spooked, and then that spooked the studio heads, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta tone it down just a little bit, maybe not go R." Is this PG-13?
No, this is R. This is R.
This is R. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I mean,
there was something about the time frame for editing. I guess they typically get X number of weeks or something, but for this, Anderson had, for some reason, agreed to a smaller amount. I don't know why that is. I forget what I read. So they made the first edit, which he admits was too overly long, and that was another reason why test audiences were like, "Oh no, not this." But this prior to that, the studio, from what he said, was like he didn't know who was watching the dailies and stuff, and because it seemed like nobody was really bothering them, they were kind of left to their own devices, which I think shows for the most part. But then that second cut, which was only like a week or two later, he said was too short, and so the third and final cut that was released was, I think it was still kind of too short, but it was after those. And then that said, now all that footage seemingly lost to time, to whatever. These people don't know how to store footage, apparently, and so we'll probably never get that ultimate cut of Event Horizon, which is a shame because it would be very interesting. I don't know if it would change a whole lot, but maybe someday we'll get that Nightbreed situation where that footage is found and they can kind of put some shit back together. But it's annoying when footage like this is, it's like, just gone.
Like Night of the Living Dead, we understand what happened. They were low budget and the fucking storeroom got flooded, but we're talking a major. Should not have happened. You mentioned Sam Neill. Yeah, you mentioned Sam Neill. Let's go ahead and talk about he. Obviously, I feel like Jurassic Park, like that's the Sam Neill everybody knows. But he's got 149 acting credits, and some, quite a bit of horror.
He ain't afraid to be in a horror movie. Mm-mm. He'll be in a blockbuster like Jurassic Park in 94 or 93, just a few years before this. Was but then he'll turn around and do Event Horizon, which just makes me like him even more. Or what's the one we did? The John Carpenter Mouth of Madness, which was right. Was that right before Jurassic Park or right after? Either or. Like dude's got horror cred, but I feel like some people don't know that.
I don't know if you like Daybreakers, the vampire movie.
I've yet to watch
it. He was in Peaky Blinders, so you get a horror, or at least horror adjacent. TV show, Rick and Morty.
Oh, really? That's cool.
So yeah, he's not afraid to get out there. He's all over the place. Bicentennial Man, which is horrifying in a whole different way.
We could have talked about that movie last week. As a matter of fact, on our AI episode, I'm kind of surprised we didn't bring it up. But
we went hard on that episode too. So
yeah,
Sam Neill, and then boy, man, got to talk about Lawrence Fishburne, right?
You mean a random nurse from Nightmare on Elm Street 3? That Larry Fishburne? I can't really call him Larry Fishburne.
Larry, I think, is okay. Laurie, probably not.
Laurie would get me beat up by Lawrence Fishburne.
Who lied about his age? Who lied about his age so he could appear in the iconic Apocalypse Now. He was actually underage, but lied about his age so he could appear, so he could be in Apocalypse Now. That Larry Fishburne, Rumblefish, color purple. I mean, yes. Nurse
and just
Nightmare on Elm Street.
A year later would be Morpheus in The Matrix, which I can't hardly connect him to that anymore. Like watching him in this, I'm like, there's Lawrence Fishburne, but The Matrix seems so far removed from him in this and like everything prior. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know why.
He's a boy in the hood, and he's always hard. I'm talking that shit, and he'll pull your card. So he's owing nothing in life but to be legit. So don't hawk him, boy, because he's too legit.
To quit? To
yeah.
Stop?
To stop. Too legit. Contagion. Has Larry on here before.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
The Hannibal TV series, which is that is great. That is a great series. That we start getting some franchises series there.
Right.
Mads Mikkelsen might be. He might be the best. I'm just gonna say it. I know that's controversial.
I'll leave it to your discretion because I have no opinion.
Larry's legit. John Wick. So.
I really like him in this. He comes off as a sensible captain, and like he's there for his crew. Like he's talking to the one woman about, he didn't have enough time to try to get her off the crew, but he tried and he's sorry. And from that all the way to the end of him sacrificing himself for the 3 people that are left is very cool. I feel like that is a trope, the hero character sacrificing himself for the crew, but it feels different in this because we'll maybe have to analyze that. I don't know.
It feels earned. It feels like it's really redemption from him. It doesn't come out of nowhere. Like he feels like he owes something to the crew because he had a crew member die. So I agree with you. It sometimes it comes out of nowhere and it just feels hollow. But this feels earned. This feels like it's not just I guess earned is the right word because it's what he wants. He wants that redemption, and he gets it. For redemption for something he didn't really need to be redeemed for. Like, I mean, you only have his side of the story, really, for what happened with the previous crew member, but I don't think he's lying. Like, he doesn't come off as someone who's protecting his ass or telling a story to make himself feel good.
And he wasn't there for his, machismo and shit. Like, once stuff starts going south when they get to the Event Horizon, he's like, pack your shit, we're fucking leaving.
Yep.
And
he's a no guff guy. Like, you're not, I don't care who you are. You can be Hulk Hogan. You're not giving Larry Fishburne any.
And one of I think probably my favorite line of the movie is he's talking to Weir about their leaving, and I want to say I wrote it down. Where's that? He tells him he's going to take the Lewis and Clark to a safe distance, and then he's going to shoot tactical missiles at it until he's satisfied that the Event Horizon has been vaporized. I'm like, fuck yeah, you will. Obviously, that isn't what played out, but Weir's being his weird self, and then Larry Fishburne's like, no, here's what's going to happen. We're going to blow this fucking shit up, and end of discussion. And you don't get that. I mean, I feel like they try to give you that in some horror movies with somebody that's kind of in charge of something. It's like, no, we're doing it like this, but it's like, I just don't believe you have the fortitude to push this plan forward.
Or
Lawrence Fishburne,
or you're a dick. Or you're really not strong enough to like lay down the law, or you're a dick laying down the law. And Larry comes across as neither. Like, he's firm, but he's fair. So
I totally buy him as the captain of the Lewis and Clark. I'm honestly, is there a member of the crew that you just don't care about? I mean, there's some that are less than others, but like, there's nobody where I'm like, God, I can't wait till this fucking person dies. I wouldn't say there's anything like that.
If there was one, it's Cooper. At the end of the day, I like Cooper, but he's just a little too goosey-loosey to me. Right. You're at the edge of space at this point. You're out to Neptune. Further than any mission has ever gone and been successful. Recovery. And you're a little goosey-loosey. So I get it. He's trying to get him some shark. And that's okay. I don't mind that. He's never comes across as incapable, even though and that's easy to do when you're playing for laughs, and he's clearly the laughs guy. The only time it really bothers me, and I think it's a cool thing when he gets blown off into and you think he's now hurtling into deep space because the Lewis and Clark has blown up, and he makes that trip back. But
I love that part, by the way, when he's flying back, where he's like, I'm back, bitches. But then he sees Weir's like all fucking weird now. And he's like, I wish I wasn't. I forget exactly what he says. Or he's coming in too hot. Something like that. Something to take the steam out of the heroic sails. So he still feels like the token funny black guy. Mm-hmm. But I liked him for that. Speaking of which, the token black dude trope, right? How in horror, I'd say probably beyond horror as well, like you get the token black dude, and token black dude dies first. Not only is that not true in this movie, you have two black dudes who essentially, I mean, obviously, I keep wanting to call him Lawrence Fishburne. That's his name. What's his name in the movie?
Miller.
You have Miller and you have Cooper, who both make it to the end of the movie. Obviously, Miller doesn't make it out. maybe Cooper doesn't really make it out at the end.
I'm pretty sure he does not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does.
So that's for some discussion here in a moment, but seemingly survives, maybe not. But they both get through it to the end of the movie, whereas 90% of the rest of the cast, they're fucking out.
I thought it was a nice diverse cast.
In 1997, of all, it's surprising.
Who knew that 20 years later they would have been derided as woke movie because it had 2 black men and 2 women on the crew.
There's a black man trying to get with a white lady. Oh my God, conservatives can't handle that.
I liked the relationship between Peters and Mama Bear and Baby Bear.
Yeah,
I like their relationship because it really felt authentic.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and you can feel the desperation from her more than anybody. Like, everybody's concerned for Justin when he walks out onto that airlock.
Yeah.
But Peters, like, you can feel the emotion there. I thought this whole movie, top to bottom, is very well acted.
Yep, I agree.
So
also Jack Noseworthy. I feel like we have to take a moment for Jack Noseworthy because, especially at this time, like he's in this, he was in Idle Hands just a couple years later. There was a handful of things where you kept seeing Jack Noseworthy, and I've always really liked him. He's not got his big moment in movies and stuff, I don't think. But I really liked him in this, and when he gets, kind of his mind fucked with and all that bad stuff that happens, I'm like, no, I don't want nothing bad to happen to him, because thinking at the time, I'm like, he's the younger kid, so I kind of identify with him at the time, because I don't remember how old I was in 97, 14. So I identified with him because he was the younger one. But looking at Jack Noseworthy now, Dave, about how old would you guess, without looking, would you guess Jack Noseworthy is? This was a long way around the barn to get to guess how old Jack Noseworthy is.
Okay. That's a long walk for a short drink of water.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say now, 23. I'm going to say he's 50.
And you would be wrong. 58.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I was watching this guy when he was middle-aged, thinking he was like just the door down from my age. No. You Google him and it says 58. I'm like, what the fucking shit? He's no baby bear. He's middle-aged.
He's the little brother in Encino Man, right? And he's in my favorite Pam Anderson movie, Barbed Wire. Love Barbed Wire.
I've not watched it.
It's so fucking cheesy. It's so fucking cheesy, and it's Pam Anderson before she went too hard in the paint with plastic surgery. So,
okay.
Yeah, I love Barbed Wire. It's more action or clearly action movie, but
with the way the whorehouse has been going, I wouldn't write it off the books just yet. Because whoever knows. Yeah. I do. Speaking one last thing of the characters themselves, the medic, whose name I don't remember, whose actor name I also don't remember. There's a moment before they all go into like a cryo sleep where he's just smoking a fucking cigarette. And there's Weir getting ready to be put down, who's kind of nervous about the whole thing. And he goes up to him with the cigarette. He's like, do you want to drag before you go under? And I'm like, For some reason, I really like that little moment that probably nobody ever thinks about. But I was like, I like that.
It did stick out to me. For one, and kind of moving us all off of cast or to like design of the play and set design and otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
This movie fits right in with the you could put it in the Alien universe, and it would fit fine because you have that same thing where the Lewis and Clark doesn't feel like shiny astronaut space. It feels like alien capitalism space.
Yes.
Like everything has to be fit within budget. So everything isn't shiny and new. It's a little dirty because, we had to save a few bucks here.
Yeah, it's like factories in space.
Yeah, yes.
It's clean enough to get by, but it ain't clean.
Right.
And stuff like that. It's
agree.
like, that's what feels space, like realistic spacey to me in a lot of those movies. Like when it's too clean and sterile looking, I'm like, there ain't no humans in charge of this shit. No way.
As long as it's, 20 people a year in space, yeah, you keep it relatively clean. But as soon as you start like producing ships, and enough of them that you need the United States Coast Guard to build a ship that specializes in ship rescue, you're not getting that shiny clean anymore. Like, no.
I agree.
So,
And it's a job. It's not just like space exploration and all that. It's a purpose to, utilitarian and dirty, and it feels real.
I did wonder because though, like, everybody kind of has something in their past that they're atoning,
right?
And for the medic, I don't know if they ever explicitly say anything for him, but there's a moment where he turns violent, like at the drop of a hat, puts the scalpel up to dude's neck, and so maybe it's his violent past.
That could be.
I don't know. That's just a little.
In the unicorn final cut that we may never get, that is maybe something there, because I mean you're right. I don't recall anything that, and that's certainly.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, and Jack Noseworthy didn't really have one. Like his was, I think, lying about his age. He lied the other way than Lawrence Fishburne. He was in his 40s being like, absolutely, I'm 18. Do I sound like I was betrayed because I feel that way?
At least he looks the part. Like in the 80s,
right.
it was bad. Like they didn't even look the part. And then the guy that blows up in the Lewis and Clark, the actor's name is John Pertwee.
This dude is
Pertwee. Don't church it up,
kidding.
Chris.
I'm kidding.
Don't church it up on me. This guy's been around for a while. He's in You, which I've not really watched the new season. I think Stella started watching it. But he's Pennyworth in the Gotham TV series, which is pretty great. And that's still like the number one thing I know him. I associate him from, even though he is in a Warhammer 40K animated movie.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah. And also something else I had in my mind that he's in, I wanted to bring up. Oh, Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers, yeah.
Yes. So, which we started watching the other day. And I think we watched when we went to bed the other day, but it was such a long day. I think I was out within like 10 minutes. So, but a great werewolf movie.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not spoiling it by saying werewolf. So,
At least you didn't mention the soldiers.
Right. I mean, no, now it's ruined, Chris. Now it's ruined. And recently in The Invitation 2, which is a movie that's quickly become one of Stella's, like, if I want to turn something on to go to sleep, The Invitation is a pretty good option. Because it's just, everything is shot dark. so that helps too if you're trying to watch something.
There you go. Any other things you want to bring up before we
the design of the event horizon? So I want to take a quick moment to discuss the name event horizon.
Right.
So I mean, the event horizon, by definition, is that point where you get so close to a black hole or singularity that no light, no sound, nothing can escape.
Mm-hmm.
So, in essence, and definition part 2 of Event Horizon is the point of no return. So, I'm just going to go out on a limb and go ahead and say that's a terrible name for a ship, because I don't want to go on a ship called the Point of No Return. I want to return. That's the whole point of it being a ship and not a one-way rocket. So there's that. But the design of the ship, it's got that Gothic church architecture. It feels at home in Hellraiser, in 12th century church. If it's.
I mean, speaking of Pennyworth, you could set the outside down in Gotham City, and it would feel pretty much in place.
yeah, especially the Tim Burton, like Gotham City.
Yeah.
It would be perfect. The Event Horizon itself looks like a cross, which not only does it look like a cross, Chris. If a rocket ship, if a ship is launching out of the Earth, and if the Event Horizon was launching out of the ship out of the Earth atmosphere nose first, it would not just be a cross; it would be an upside down cross.
Okay.
The doors, so many of the doors are shaped like coffins, and if they're not shaped like coffins, they have giant fucking spiked teeth on them.
Yes.
Which seems like a OSHA violation waiting to happen.
Speaking of all those spikes, quick aside for that, watching a behind the scenes thing earlier today, a lot of that, I'm not saying all of it, but some of what I saw, a lot of those spikes, practical, yes, rubber though. Okay. I never would have assumed. It makes sense, I guess, or latex, whatever kind of, material, but in that vein, not in a kind of solid, pointy, really gonna hurt you kind of a vein. So I was like, I guess I should have expected that, but that's surprising all the same.
Yeah.
But anyways, I had to throw that in there. Continue.
Oh, that's great. They're great. The spikes on the doors, the coffin-shaped doors, the tunnel before you get to the the gravity drive, where it's got the rotating razor blades. One, it seems pointless. Like, does that serve a scientific function, or it's just like, this will really freak those fuckers out when they walk through this?
Weird was the devil the whole time.
Yeah, that's a legit. I was just about to bring this up.
Maybe.
Was Weir influenced by the other side the whole time?
Maybe.
Because if that's really hell, and we say Satan comes from hell and influences like people to do bad things on the earth, that's a possibility. That is a possibility.
I was thinking of that when I was watching it for the show. At one point, he said something after he's all like cut up, weird, and crazy that made me think that wasn't the case, because he was talking about when I built the Event Horizon or designed it or whatever. And I can't remember what he said, where I was like, I guess he wasn't influenced the whole time. But at the same time, if it's this other cosmic being pulling some strings, how's he going to know anyways? So
right, that's the greatest trick the devil ever pulled, was convincing the world. So maybe he kind of pulled the strings on this whole thing.
I did see something, the spinny part that you were just talking about. I was reading about it. I didn't see it in a special feature, but they were online somewhere was saying it's supposed to represent each ring, the 9 circles of hell.
I did see that. I think it was Ending Explained.
Okay.
on YouTube because I did see the same thing. And maybe it wasn't the same thing you watched, but maybe they got their information in place. Which
I just read it somewhere. I forget wherever I read it. So we'll say it's true.
Yeah, it seems good to me. That is a common, or maybe not common, but it's not entirely uncommon feature in some haunted houses. Specifically, Necropolis. If you ever go to Necropolis in Indianapolis, they have the room with the spinny, and you have the walkway across.
Immediately is what went into my mind when we went through that one time. I'm like, hey,
yes.
Back in the day, do you remember on HBO, they would show like a making of show,
real
like
sex?
5, not real sex, but more like maybe real sets.
Okay.
It's like a behind the scenes first look. I want to say HBO First Look, something like that. And when it was like a big movie, like especially when they were going to premiere, they'd have like this 10, 15, 20 minute behind the scenes show.
Yeah, I had a few rich friends.
And Event Horizon was one of them at the time. And it's kind of also what kept my attention on it at the time. And that was one of the big parts that they talked about during that was the spinny bits, the tunnel, and Lawrence Fishburne having to run through that and not being able to, and then having to try to figure out how to do that. And so that's like ingrained into my brain.
It is incredibly disorienting. I don't think if you've never tried to walk through that tunnel, you don't get the real understanding of how disorienting that is. Like I said, that is one of the first things you go through at Necropolis.
Yeah.
And
could you imagine trying to run through something as long as that tunnel? Never in the movie, because I'm pretty sure I'd fall off and be me grinded.
Your best bet, and this is just if I had to do that, how would I accomplish it? I would close my eyes and run with my eyes closed. But I think you'd be better off than having your eyes open and having that.
But you're the action camera, man. You got to have the action camera on. You got to have the eyes open. Do you do like a ballet and fix a point? You can't do
CGI'd Wesley Snipes' eyes in Blade.
That's what I was gonna say. You can't do Wesley Snipes' eyes.
Yeah. We're on a wavelength here tonight, Chris.
We are. God, what a waste of money that was. No wonder Wesley Snipes.
What a fucking dickhead! I told you I did not like Wesley fucking Snipes.
That is such a trash waste of money in a movie.
I need a moment of in the last 2 years. In the last, how long have we been doing the show now? A couple of years. Since
2019.
2019. Yeah. So in the last 4 years, I have watched all of the Blade movies. At least
really? Twice. What?
And no way. At one point I vowed never to watch Blade again because I hated fucking Wesley Snipes. I have done.
What? This is too big for the end of Event Horizon episode.
This should be
this is breaking
a whole
news.
episode of just confession. I really feel better. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Like I was harboring this dark secret.
Wow.
Did I murder hobos? No. But did I watch Blade despite my hatred for Wesley fucking Snipes?
Dare I ask, what did you think real quick? Yay, nay, in between, never again?
They're good movies. I mean, it's hard to say. They're fucking cheesy good in a way. Like, the CG. Oh, we're gonna come right back to that for this movie. But the CG, especially at the end of the first one, when he cuts the dude in half and the torso flies up in the air, and then all of a sudden the blood pulls him back together. Like, it took a long time, and I'm not sure that they can do good liquid fluid CG now. I think they just have gotten smart enough to avoid like doing free floating fluids CG. They're like, we'll just not do that anymore because it's impossible.
And we for sure see it a few times in this.
Yes. Even at the start when they first go to the event horizon and just random shit floating.
Yeah.
As an object, it's not horrible, but you can tell immediately it's not lifelike.
Yeah.
I don't think it was
a shame
for 97.
Yeah, it kind of bums me out really because the rest of the movie looks so good and the design is so good for everything and it's shot well. That's to me the only thing that dates it is those CGI shots. Some of the exterior stuff, like the bigger shots, can look fake, but they're not that bad.
I don't mind them. I don't mind them. They're good enough. And considering that this is, we're talking 26 years, so they're good enough. Still today, they're good enough.
Yeah.
I got dizzy watching in that opening shot where they're just kind of going through the space station and everything's spinning, and I legit was like, oh, I'm gonna get motion sick here. And I think because it looked good enough to like trick my body to say you should be feeling this spin in your body, not just with your eyeballs, and you don't. And so that creates that discordant feeling. So
right. I agree.
I did see one deleted scene when they pull Weir in and tell him that the event horizon has reappeared, and it's very old school Navy, which all the crew of the Lewis and Clark have Coast Guard insignia.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty neat. But the CG is a minor criticism.
It's not, it's really not in it that terrible much. I mean, there's not much CGI in it.
Which is the best thing.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. So I guess the technology and the artistry of CG has increased over the years, but I think the biggest thing is that VFX artists are smart enough to know what not to do with CG. And when CG is used, it's at its best. It's just used to lay over the top of actual practical things, not to create something wholesome. So,
yeah.
Put a book and a pair of pliers on a fishing line and let it float in the air, and it would have been better than this.
Any other topics you want to touch on before we rate this bitch and shut the doors? With our own brand of CGI.
I think we've covered all my topics.
Yeah, I'm pretty solid.
I'm pretty happy. Yeah, this is. We'll take an ad and then we'll come back with some ratings and do the whole socials thing, guys. We need your help. At the same time, we're saying fuck Spotify. We really need some Spotify followers so we can provide more and better content for you. But let's take a break.
We are back. It is time to rate Event Horizon. I will go first. For me, I do really love this movie, but I don't. I got a couple little nitpicks with it. The gore is there. The practical stuff is all crazy good. Back in the day, this was in like the height of my Fangoria buying time as a wee lad, and I remember getting the issue that had Event Horizon on the cover, and it had, a picture of one of the past crew with the spike through their mouth, and they're like naked, hanging in that, the gravitational chamber room thing. And I was like, what the fuck is this movie? And from that point until I finally got to see it, probably on HBO, like a year or two after it released, I was dying to see it. Huge set pieces, a lot of action. You got a Hellraiser influence. The Warhammer thing connection is pretty cool, even though we neither one know a whole lot about Warhammer. But I just wanted.
I've seen the miniatures and they look dope.
Yeah, I just wanted some more from the other side with Jim Morrison and everything. I wanted to really fear where that ship had been, and I mean, it's there, but I just really want some more, because I've seen the stills, man. I just need some more of that. Put it in there. But we may never get that. But that said, that there is a lot of 90s-ness to this, and the way Paul Anderson directs is very 90s in a lot of spots, which is fair. But
it got him a fucking hot ass wife, so
that it did. I gotta give it a 7.5.
Oh, okay.
I may be a little lower than you anticipated.
No, not really. You're a lot lower than I anticipated, Chris.
Okay.
This movie is great. It is, like I said, it is Hellraiser. It is Ghost Ship. It is you said it. I think you were quoting somebody else. Shining in space. And Shining
the
is
writer.
The writer called it Shining in space, and Shining is Shining is either my number one or number two. I don't know. I'm a fucking a waffler on like my top fives and my top tens. They jumble up in order all the time.
Yeah.
So Shining and Exorcist are easily my top 1 and 2 in some order, and that may very well depend on my mood. And Skinamarink is probably in the top, in the top 1 or 2 movies that I would never want to watch again. I really thought you would be higher. I thought you would be a 9.
Wow.
I didn't think it would be a 10 for you. I didn't think it would be a RoboCop for you, because I know how much you love RoboCop, but I thought it would be very close. But like I said, for me, this is great. There's not downtime. Like, there's always, even in getting ready to go into the stasis, his dream in the stasis, coming out of stasis, when they first walk into the event horizon, turn the gravity on, and the crew member's body falls to the floor and shatters. The marks I have against this really come down to just the 2 things. The wormhole trope, which is so fucking minor, and the CG, which is, it's not bad for the time. We didn't talk about the missing eyeball CG.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is kind of not great at sometimes, but I don't know that I've ever seen it done with CG well.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say that, count them off for that. And then you have Weir's wife, Claire, which played by Holly Chant. And when you see her boobies and her nipples, you understand what happened to their eyes. She poked them out with her nipples. And I kind of wish she would poke my eyeballs out with her nipples. So
hold on. I'm gonna go plus 0.5 now. You're right.
All right. Up to an 8. Chris is up to an 8.
But I feel like I'm influenced. I'm back down. 7.5. Continue.
W.S. Anderson, if you had put a naked porcupine chick in there, I mean, Chris might have been a 12. So
It's hard to.
I gave this a solid 9. I thought this was one we'd both be at a 9 on. I really like this. I don't know that I definitely don't think, and I love Alien, all of the aliens, even the fucking shitty ones. And I'm only calling them shitty because they are.
Anderson directed AVP, right? I think.
Yeah, and that's. I don't mind AVP. I'm having a great day, Chris.
That's a whole rabbit hole.
Day. I don't want to talk AVP.
My apologies. Continue.
This is the best sci-fi horror there is. Period.
I think I would agree. I would tend to.
I challenge you, Rabble. I challenge you to name a sci-fi horror that I even momentarily consider is on Event Horizon's level. I don't think you can. We just recently did War of the Worlds, and I think War of the Worlds is so iconic and so influential. And I like the Tom Cruise movie. I'm going to say I like the Tom Cruise movie. Ain't going to change my mind. Scientology Jesus pulled out a good one there. He's really he's really good. I don't want to like Tom Cruise. But he does these cool movies and he does his own stunts, and I'm like, if I could trade places with anyone, would it be George Clooney or Tom Cruise? I don't know.
George Clooney's got to have a mask. Is all I'm saying.
But now that I know Paul Anderson is married to Mila Jovovich, maybe it's Paul Anderson. But I gave it a 9, man. I gave this a 9. This is
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, like I said, this is the best sci-fi horror. It makes sense when it's called Shining in Space. That makes total fucking sense.
That was his initial.
Because you're trapped. You're trapped in this space that should be just a fucking neutral space. It's just a location.
Yeah.
But the location itself is out to get you.
Yeah.
And that's fucking terrifying, man. It's like work.
Now, that's interesting because I feel like whenever we do get to The Shining, which I'm sure we'll get to, we have to. Mm-hmm. I know that I won't like it.
It's on my list, man. It's on my list.
I know I won't like it as much as you do.
No. I think clearly I slurp up to The Shining.
I think maybe that plays into our ratings for Event Horizon as well. You know.
That very well could. I think I actually had heard that before, and I didn't know it was Paul Anderson who said that, but I think I had heard that before and kind of like put that out of my mind, because when you said that, I was like,
yeah.
Right. So, The Shining in Space, or Hellraiser and Ghost Ship had a space baby. However you want to describe it.
I think that's the French title for it.
That's the French extremist version.
But I think
in the French version of Event Horizon, everybody's naked. So.
With the pointed nipples. I went Swedish. I didn't really go French. Anyways, I think that will probably do it for this week in the horror house.
That wraps it up, Chris.
Let me look real quick, and we can maybe let you know what's going on next week.
A little TC Bobisi.
Let's just say the Hills will need some big sunglasses for them eyes it has. That was best hint or best?
That was not subtle at all, and I'm there for it. That's okay.
Okay. Okay.
We go from space to, desert hillbillies.
Very terrestrial.
Yeah. Holy shit! And the week after that, I don't remember putting that on the list, but I'm good with that.
I shuffled things around, and I think I kind of back ended it with Christmas movies.
I like that. I like it. I like it. Okay.
But yeah, if you want to let us know what your thoughts on Event Horizon are, Dave, where can the fine people let us know these things?
If you're interested in the Horror House podcast, post my shit. You can hit us up on Twitter at Sweetness1 with 6 E's, or at Horror House 2 because there are 2 of us, and you can tag us, you can DM us. DMs are open if you want to slide right in.
There you go. You can email us, horrorhousepodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to the Horror House page on Facebook.
You can look for us on Slasher, Horror House Dave, or Horror House Krish.
Krishna?
Okay, I've developed an accent I'd never had before. That's what happens with the Captain Morgan.
There you go.
So, look for us on Slasher, Horror House Dave or Horror House Chris on Slasher,
And
the social media website for horror fans.
last but not least, share us with your friends if they're into horror and want to talk about people that like to talk about horror. Send them our way. We'll have a good time. We'll make sure of it. And if they
Even
don't,
if they don't like horror.
If they don't, then send us better friends, you jackasses. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you sending us bad friends? Come on. Come on. Wow.
If you got friends
Wow.
with kids and you don't have kids, they're constantly showing you pictures of their kids. And so just retaliate by every time they show you a picture of the kid, point them to the Horror House and be like, I will look at your fucking kid.
Oh no,
when
Dave.
You listen to the Horror House.
They should lift up their cell phone or their portable Bluetooth speaker and just play 5 minutes of any Horror House episode every time they have to see
There you go.
one of their friends' kids that they don't want to see.
Right.
That's a fair trade.
That's
a
it.
fair trade.
That is a fair trade. I probably sometime during that 5 minutes, we're going to insult somebody pretty big time.
Yeah. Yep.
Celebrities, producers, creators, politicians, fan bases.
And for next episode, or if you want to listen to this one over again and have a new experience, take a shot every time Dave's chair squeaks.
Oh shit! No, don't do that. Someone will die.
The Horror House
That is a
podcast
horrible
is not
idea.
responsible for your well-being or drinking habits. Just saying. Could you make it? Somebody's going to have to be brave enough one day to try. Half shot. We're going to do half shots. That's fair. You can make it through that.
We should do it live on Spotify or live on YouTube and just fucking drink ourselves under the table.
Oh my God. Horror podcast hosts die live on the air.
Yeah, but think how many people would go to the podcast after that.
The podcast funeral?
The podcast of our funeral. Yes.
Has that been done? Could we be the first, maybe? It's probably already been done.
It's probably
not
been
with,
done.
but not with drinks.
Yeah.
Anyways, next week, I should have said we're doing the 2006 version of the Hills That Need Shades for Them Eyes.
Oh.
Yeah. So meet us back here, same bat time, same bat cemetery.
I think you fucked it up again. But that's okay.
I felt like I was pretty close.
Oh.
I was
What is
close.
this, horseshoes or hand grenades?
Potentially. I didn't mind the Jaeger, by the way. I was there for it. It did.
Oh, is that why you were drinking tonight?
Yeah.
Or you were drinking some other time? Okay. Are you mixing or are you just drinking straight?
Yeah. I'd not tried it by itself yet, so I don't know where that would go. But yeah,
It's been a long time since I drank the Jaeger. I just don't. I remember not liking the taste.
it was so cheap. I could see it's not really a summer drink. It's very licoricey.
Right. It's like some kind of Nordic flavor, right? It's like made in Finland or some shit where you like the women are hairy, so you have to get drunk.
Where the women are so ugly, it makes the black licorice taste good. I developed your lisp there then, too. Same cemetery, different graves. We're getting out of here. We're getting weird. We're leaving.
Later.